Welcome back. In today's video, we're gonna do a quick tutorial. We've got Kai modeling for us today, and we're gonna do a slow shutter speed tutorial. We're gonna go quickly through the settings, how you shoot it, sort of the ideal situations to shoot it, and maybe some examples of like where I think it looks best. Ready? All right. So the slow shutter effect is essentially when you crank down your shutter speed to around, sometimes the sweet spot's like 1/15th, 1/13th, or 1/10th of a second, and you crank your other settings to sort of compensate for that shutter speed. And essentially what it does is it creates this crazy sort of like rotating motion blur effect in the background, but if you keep your subject centered, then it creates a really cool effect. And let me just show you what I'm talking about. So real quickly, just going through the settings, we're shooting at 1/13th of a shutter speed, even though I'm shooting at a 30 FPS, which I usually shoot on. We've bumped up the aperture to 7.1 and the ISO is actually at 640. What this does is it essentially creates, I don't even kind of tell, but it's really slow in terms of the information that it intakes, and it creates this really blurred effect. But if you keep your subject centered as you're rotating around or as they're panning, or you can move with the subject, you create this really cool slow shutter effect. So let me just show you real quickly what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna use, you can do this handheld, I do this handheld all the time, but I'm just gonna use a gimbal, and I'm just gonna rotate around Kai, and I'll show you what it looks like. Let me rotate one more time. I'll start wide here. And so what I'm really trying to do is I'm trying to keep Kai centered, and with a little bit of pace, I mean, you could slow the shutter speed even further and go slower, but I like to kind of just move around my subject and try to keep them as centered as possible. Do this one more time. And you can even start wide and go close. And this one, could you hold the thing and rotate around with me? And yep. All right. Ready? And go. Cool. Let me do one where I'm starting close, but I'm pulling out wide here. Just stay there. One more time. I'm gonna start wide and go close here. Throughout this, I look like an idiot, but I'm just trying to keep him centered and try different angles where the background and the surrounding areas are blurred, but he's somewhat in focus. So for this, I use a 10-18 variable zoom lens. It's a super wide lens, and it's really cheap, and to be honest, not a great lens, but I like it because it's super wide. You can do this with a regular type of lens, but I found that shooting with a super wide or wide enough lens gives it an effect where you can really accentuate the background and focus in on the subject. Again, just to go over the keys, super wide lens, shutter speed around 1/13th, 1/15th, maybe 1/10th. Play around with the settings that work for you, and just get creative with it. A lot of times sometimes I'll stabilize the footage in post. Sometimes I'll speed up the footage by 150% and keep the image kind of like stable, so that'll give you a different effect. Just play around with it and see what works for you. Whew. How was that piece? Was it good? Anything I missed? All right.
Please like, subscribe, share.
Like, subscribe, share. See you guys in the next one. Boom.